Okay, John, so we've talked about the definitions, and next is the applicability. This judgment applies to who or to whom?
It's going to apply to NAR and all other persons who participate with NAR who receive notice of the judgment. A member board shall not be deemed to be in active concert with NAR solely as a consequence of the member board's receiving actual notice of this final judgment and its affiliation with or membership in NAR and its involvement in regular activities associated with its affiliation with or membership in NAR. So basically it is going to apply to NAR and also member boards, certain member boards. The next section on prohibited conduct kind of gets into some of the meat here. Subject to some of the provisions in the policy that we'll be discussing, the basic rule is that NAR shall not adopt, maintain, or enforce any rule or enter into or enforce any agreement or practice that directly or indirectly, and here they list the prohibited
So
action.
these rules are like, these are the rules. Yeah. And while NAR might be able to change some things, there are some things that NAR can't do, or if they try to do it, the Department of Justice is going to be on them like hair on soap.
They're going to jump on them because later on we're going to find out that there even has to be a compliance officer.
You like that one, hair on soap? I don't know where I heard that, but that's pretty good.
Got by me.
But that's right. I mean, that's right. It's prohibited. You can't do it.
Right.
And if you do, they're going to be on you.
So what are some of the things you're going to be prohibited from? NAR it would prohibit a broker from using a vow, or prohibits, restricts, or impedes a broker who uses a vow from providing to customers on its vow all of the listing information that a broker is permitted to provide to customers by either hand, mail, fax, electronic mail, or any other methods of delivery.
So NAR is prohibited from saying to a broker who is using a vow that you can't give out information that you would give out in any other normal encounter with people.
Right. If you had somebody come into your bricks and mortar office and you were able to give them, let's say, some information about a listing, you can't prohibit that giving out that same kind of information on a vow. So,
and if you try to make a rule to change that's prohibited conduct.
Specifically by this judgment, and you would be nailed for that. Another thing you couldn't do is you couldn't come up with a rule that unreasonably disadvantages or unreasonably discriminates against a broker in the use of a vow to provide to customers all of the listing information that a broker is permitted, once again, to provide to customers by hand, mail, fax, electronic mail, or any other methods of delivery.
Now in each case here, the word customer is capital C. And what that means is its customer is defined by the definitions in this document. Not your interpretation of what a customer is, but the way that they've defined a customer in this agreement. And so it's really important, if you want to understand this document and understand then the implications of this document, that you read it correctly. And so often we would read something like this without the detail or the attention to detail that's required to really understand a legal document like this.
Very important definition. Another prohibition, they couldn't come up with a rule that would prohibit, restrict, or impede the referral of customers whose identities are obtained from a vow by a broker who uses a vow to any other person or establishes the price of any such referral. So you're going to have brokers who, if they meet the definition of an MLS participant, as we'll talk about later, if they in their vow get information of interest from a customer and they want to then pass that information along, make a referral of that to some other broker, that they are going to be allowed to do that, and they can't be prohibited from just making that referral.
So it almost sounds like this document is going to allow referral businesses. But we know better because we've read Exhibit B.
Exhibit B is going to really affect that.
Right. So if you're reading this, you might jump to a conclusion Because it says, and we'll read it to you verbatim, that a broker would be prohibited. They can't do, or a NAR cannot have a rule that prohibits, restricts, or impedes the referral of capital C customers whose identities are obtained from a vow by a broker who uses a vow to any other person, capital P, or establishes the price of any such referral. So it almost sounds like referrals are okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in effect, we're going to see that they are under certain circumstances based on the description of a subscriber.
That's right, yeah.
Okay? So don't read too much into this one right now.
The next prohibition is they aren't able to impose fees or costs upon any broker who operates a vow, or upon any person who operates a vow for any broker, that exceed the reasonably estimated actual costs incurred by a member board in providing listing information to the broker or person operating the vow, or in performing any other activities relating to the vow, or discriminates in such vow-related fees or costs between those imposed upon a broker who operates a vow and those imposed upon a person who operates a vow for a broker, unless the MLS incurs greater costs in providing a service to a person who operates a vow for a broker than it incurs in providing the same service to the broker.
So you can't discriminate brokers operating vows out of business by just charging so much money it doesn't make sense for them to operate a vow.
Right. Now, there are reasonable costs and charges, for this and for the member board, but they really have to analyze this one carefully to make sure that they're not out of line with those amounts. Of course, the last prohibition is that you can't come up with a rule that's inconsistent with the modified vow policy, the one that everybody is waiting for in
Exhibit A?
Exhibit A.
That's the end of that piece.